Our top story is India's top hospital afflicted with India's #1 bimari, VVIP culture. That is the charge its resident doctors are making after the hospital's new director issued a circular that gave all MPs a direct line to the hospital's doctors, beds and tests. Now, as part of the new SOPs that have been issued, duty officers will be available at the All India Institute of Medical Sciences control room round the clock to coordinate and facilitate arrangements for the MPs. This officer, who just by the way is also a qualified medical professional, will in turn speak to the specialists or the super specialist doctors or the head of departments concerned to fix an appointment for the MPs, is what the letter is saying. Now, resident doctors have questioned the move, highlighting that the special privilege to MPs might come at the cost of ordinary patients. Is that the case? I'm going to put that question to our guests who are joining us this evening. Let me quickly introduce them to you. We have Professor Govardhan Das, who's a BJP leader, who is joining us on the broadcast. Bhai Baldeep is a political analyst. Also with us on the show, Dr. Aviral Mathur, representing resident doctors on the show. He's the president of the FORDA. And Dr. Sanjeev Bagai, an old friend of Meronau. He's chairperson of the Nephron clinic. Dr. Aviral, let me come to you first. What's the problem with the SOP that has been issued by the All India Institute of Medical Sciences? After all, what AIIMS says is, hey, we are just streamlining the protocol with which you need to meet MPs in this country. What is the problem in what AIIMS has done today?
So, hi, good evening, everyone, and thank you for having me here today. Before I begin, let me tell you that as an institute, FODA has always been standing against the VIP culture, which is so prevalent in healthcare in India. According to us, see, a VIP in healthcare is only a patient who is more sicker. We don't discriminate on the basis of socioeconomic strata. We don't discriminate based on affiliate prioritization, which these SOPs clearly do. So the problem is that AIIMS, being a pioneer institute in the country, already has constraints of infrastructure and healthcare workers because they cater to a large population with a limited numbers of doctors, which is a known fact. Now, designating nodal officers, designating healthcare professionals solely for the purpose of dealing with the honorable MPs and dealing with their offices in cases of even emergencies is something which comes as a surprise, because there are patients waiting outside the institute in long queues, and there are patients who have dates for surgeries, say, lasting for next 2 years. And what about them? There is no clarification for them. The general public has been so complacently, ignored in these guidelines. AIIMS has gone on to say recently that they have a nodal center in place for the general public wherein they can come. But I ask a question to the general public and also to the AIIMS administrations, people that, they have mentioned it, I think, in point number 7 or 8, that in case of an emergency, the persons from the honorable MP's entourage will contact the AIIMS people and will tell them what the symptoms are. And based on that, they will have a screening for their emergency services, telling them to go either to the eye center or the main AIIMS emergency or to the trauma center that they have in place. So I from what I believe and from what I know, there is no such provision for the general public. A general public cannot call the screening center of AIIMS and get it right that where do they have to go. They are only referred, and in that, precious time is lost. So if we leave the OPDs out of the picture, the emergencies is something which is, the situation is totally aghast. So, and moreover, we believe that these individuals, these people who, today itself, your channel covered a lot of patients who had dates of surgeries upcoming in 2024. By then, the disease would go, the pathology would go. The pathology is not going to wait for the papers to show them a date which is, say 4 months in advance. So the disease doesn't wait, the progress doesn't wait, and if you don't have an affiliate prioritization behind you, then you are nobody. That is what the protocol says. And what if the duty doctors are busy catering to patients? Say, for example, there is a CPR ongoing for a patient. There is a team of 6 doctors professionally engaged during a high quality CPR ongoing for a patient, and somebody rings up from the MP cell then what are these doctors supposed to do? Are they going to leave the CPR that is ongoing, which is a life-saving process, which needs immediate attention? Or are they going to be designated for this purpose? And are they going to be like sitting, free the entire day? So there are no clarifications regarding this. And in totality, what I agree is that with the existing infrastructure, with the existing numbers of doctors which are there in AIIMS, the patient load is extremely high already. So rather than, focusing on capacity augmentation, hiring more doctors, more healthcare professionals, more allied healthcare professionals, increasing the number of OPD rooms, increasing the emergencies, increasing wings for all the cardiothoracic and neurosurgical procedures that go on there, they have just released a guideline, which in our opinion is a,
Professor.
Yeah, sure. Go ahead.
Is a symptom of VVIP culture in this country. And why are you talking just about AIIMS and this SOP? We know that VVIP culture has existed in the All India Institute of Medical Sciences since the time it was established. So we know that there are, special beds that are reserved for VVIPs. We know that there are special rooms that are reserved for VVIPs. While people who come to the All India Institute of Medical Sciences from thousands of kilometers away, as you rightly said, have to wait 2 years to even get operated for serious diseases. Professor Govardhan Das, what have our MPs done to deserve this special treatment?
To all my fellow panelists, and good evening to you. There are 2 points I would like to make. The number 1 point, MPs are one MP, is they are representative of at least 20 lakh people. I mean, they have a lot of things to do. Definitely, what he's saying is the equality for everybody. It sounds good. But the thing is, if a MP, they have to wait for about 4 months for the surgery, what will happen to the 20 lakh people he is representing? Number 1. Number 2 thing is, if the MPs gets, the general, you are talking about general people, is it possible to give everybody to equal, opportunity? Equally, is it possible to treat? I don't think it's not. Although it sounds good to everybody have the equal kind of treatment, equal kind of things. The next day, tomorrow, somebody will come and say, why the MPs that get the securities? The general people also need the security. Why they get the a house in the Delhi Latians? Everybody, why everybody should get the house in the Delhi Latians? Is it possible? It's not. And to me, if without impairing the treatment, what they're doing very good. In addition, if they can treat this VIPs, what's wrong with it? I don't think there is anything wrong.
Professor Das, that's not the point. That's not the point. I don't think that's the point that Dr. Aviral made at all. Of course, treat MPs. Who's stopping you?
No,
but to lay out the red carpet for MPs, appoint a separate nodal officer who will do nothing else in the control room but wait for a call from an MP so that he can arrange appointments with the heads of departments and physicians, the top doctors that normal people are waiting to see for months, if not years. Doesn't it sound unfair to you? I know in this country, wherever we look, there is VIP culture. There's VIP culture in a mandir. You have a separate lane for VIPs. Just give me a moment. You have a separate lane for VIPs. You go to the airport, you will see 30 categories of VIPs who are exempt from screening. In jails, you have VIP, you have VIP cells. Even when you go and park your car, there are VIP parking. So there is something terribly wrong with this country and its VIP culture. And just by the way, I do give it to Prime Minister Modi that once he came in 2014, he understood how irritating it is for the Aam Aadmi and the Aam Aurat on the streets to see these honking lal battis, and he decided to outlaw it in 2017. Only problem is, only the physical lal batti has been outlawed, but our mindset as far as VVIP culture has not been outlawed. We need to do something about it. Dr. Bagai, just come in here. Dr. Aviral made a very good point as he began to put his point of view forward. He said, who's a VIP in healthcare? Is it the person who's suffering from the gravest disease, or is it a member of parliament? Now, Professor Das is making the point, look, this MP is not just an MP. He's been elected by 20 lakh people. He's representing all these people. When you give special treatment to the MP, you're actually extending the courtesy to all the 20 lakh people who have voted for him. That's not true. If any one of those 20 lakh people actually showed up to the All India Institute of Medical Sciences, would they be given this Atiti Devo Bhava type treatment? No, they won't.
You are trying to twist the point. What I tried
Professor
to
Das,
make
I'll
the
come to
point,
you.
Did not. Yeah.
Acha. No, okay.
Yeah,
you say I've twisted my point. Go ahead. I'll let you correct me. Go ahead. Dr. Bagai, let him correct me first. He's saying I twisted his point. Let me understand how I twisted his point. Go ahead, Professor Das.
The MP, he's representing 20 lakh people. So if he has to wait for the 4 months, he has many things to work in his at his place, at his constituency. So that means this guy needs to be treated so that the other people can also benefit out of that. I never make a point that 20 lakh people are coming to the AIIMS. It's not like that. So what you are trying to twist. And second thing is, if MP, there is a quota for the MP, that basically if the many people, like from countryside, the village side, they approach the MPs and MLAs. If the person, the MP has some kind of quota, he can send to this MP quota to AIIMS, to the best hospitals. That is what the idea is. And now you are
the SOP, sir, no, Professor Das, I wish that is what the idea was. I wish in an ideal world that should have been the idea, but that's not the idea. The SOP is very clear. This is for the treatment of members of parliament, probably an extension to their families, nothing more. But Dr. Bagai, come in here.
Hi, good evening. So I'm needless to say, I'm a very strong supporter of the government. AIIMS could have slightly better and notification a little smart. There should be no special privileges. There should be no implement. There should be no...
Dr. Bagai, can we just fix your audio? There seems to be an audio problem at your end. Let's just try and fix that. I think there's a weak internet connection there. So I'm going to ask my producer to fix your audio so that we can hear your point of view clearly. Bhai Baldeep, just come in here. Dr. Bagai was trying to make a point about privilege and how in healthcare at least, you cannot have a system where the privileged have access and the non-privileged don't have access.
Well, I will have to beg to differ on certain points. I think this entire debate is seemingly misplaced and steeped in ignorance, if I may, about the complexity of the healthcare situation or the status of healthcare in the country. Where are the doctors who are willing to go to the small hospitals and dispensaries in rural India? They all want to be posted to the cities and state capitals, isn't it? We have limited resources, yes, but then quality health services need to be made available to every citizen of the nation. We do need our elected officials to be cared for, which the respected professor representing the BJP was making. And I understand, and we do need to understand that the member of parliament, that it's not just the Lok Sabha, it's also the Rajya Sabha, that they have the people's business to look after, policies to make, etc., and need not be waiting in lines. They have to go back to the constituencies every weekend, for example. And this aspect of the SOP, etc., needn't be confused with the VIP culture. We need to fix the problem, yes, that the citizens from across the nation should not need to be traveling to Delhi's All India Institute of Medical Sciences for quality treatment. It is a pity that AIIMS allegedly continues to be the only premier institution in the country. There should be there need to be very many more. Aren't private hospitals chains catering to the high class society? There are VIP, these are the VIP doctors and nurses who only want to be where the power structure is. It is not that VIP treatment is only being reserved for the member of parliament. We need our member of parliaments to be functional. We don't want to be them to be burdened for their health services and other services. That is all right. I think the government is streamlining for a change I would tend to agree that having a nodal officer posted, there are several hundred member of parliaments. And if, we have one officer posted and in charge, a nodal officer, it will only streamline services rather than having, multiple people coming in just like that. I think it will make life of the ordinary citizen knocking the doors of the hospital for quality healthcare. It will make the life of the ordinary citizen little more convenient and easy.
Dr. Aviral, respond to what Bhai Baldeep is saying, that this debate is misplaced. And, we don't want our MPs to be standing in line. We want them to get better so that they can look after the affairs of their people. And if there are SOPs in place, it actually makes the life of the hospital simpler. You know exactly what to do when a MP who's a VIP approaches you.
So, So my point against this is that AIIMS is a public institution. It's not a private institution, and it's an institution which is run by the taxpayers' money in thousands of crores. So, MPs, as I believe, can avail immediate healthcare by appropriating, by appointing a panel of doctors. They have access to private hospitals.
I'll give you a chance to respond.
Yes.
They can appoint a private panel of doctors. It happens all the time. From what I believe, I have heard of many ministers getting a dialysis at home. That is something that they can afford readily, and it would be readily available to them through some private hospitals. Now, AIIMS is a public institute. It is meant for public service. Now, it doesn't make sense to eat into the public resource, which is already scarce. And, it is known very well that, as Mr. Baldev has rightly said, that healthcare status in India needs a rejuvenation in the real sense. Health has to reach the most peripheral parts of this country so that the referrals stop and the referrals decrease in general. But still, there are some things which, the expertise of doctors in tertiary care centers like AIIMS and, other central institutes, myself included, they can cater to. Which are beyond the realm of the peripheral PHCs or CHCs, which the government has done excellently by the outreach of the National Health Mission. Still coming to the point, MPs eating into the public resource, they coming into a facility which is run by the taxpayers' money for the welfare of the public doesn't make sense. Doesn't make sense because, they can very well go and afford a private healthcare.
No.
But we
absolutely. What do you mean? What do you think MPs are? I mean, some MPs are rich. Okay, fair enough. But MPs don't come from the skies, my friend. Aren't member of parliaments public servants? Do we not want them to deliver for the people who have elected them? Aren't the member of parliament supposed to help shape the nation's destiny? What are you saying?
Ma'am, I also need 30 seconds.
No, I'm talking to you. You're not looking at. I said the doctors do not want to be posted to the villages.
That is not true, Mr. Baldeep. That is not true. See, I would like to.
Vacant. Nobody
Mr.
wants
Baldeep,
to
I
go
would
there.
like to enlighten you. I would like to enlighten you.
It's seen as a punishment.
I also need 5 seconds, please.
25 years of field work I've done.
All right. That is excellent, Mr. Baldeep. But I would like to remind you that there is a state-borne policy under which, every doctor that is serving in the state and has a mandatory service there is going into the peripheral institutions, irrespective of their qualification, and they are serving this.
Reading from the manual, yes. That is what is supposed to, and that's a policy made by the member of parliament.
That is what is happening already.
Nobody goes there. Look at the number of vacancies out there in the villages.
Okay,
I think that is an impression that you have.
Okay, let's get in Dr. Sanjeev Bagai here. Let's get in Dr. Sanjeev. Let's get in Dr. Bagai here. The fact. Here's the thing. Everyone has a point of view as far as VIP culture is concerned. Now, Professor Das may not think, and Bhai Baldeep may not think that what has happened in the All India Institute is VIP culture. They're saying it's perfectly okay. MPs are after all elected representatives. They require to be fit and fine and fit as a fiddle to do the work that they have taken upon themselves, the responsibility that is on them, and it's perfectly fine if there is an SOP in place. So you have two people who are arguing that. Dr. Bagai, I want to understand from you where you stand on this entire debate. And, on the larger debate of VVIP culture, to me, this is looking like VVIP culture. And frankly, one is sick of it. You see it at the airport. You see it at the parking. You see it in a mandir. I was once at a mandir in Telangana, Dr. Bagai, and there were people in queues waiting for almost 45 minutes in the scorching sun because a minister and some ministers had decided to drop by, so the mandir doors were shut for the public for 45 minutes. VIP culture is everywhere, I'm saying. Why just hospitals? Why just blame the All India Institute of Medical Sciences? It happens in God's house as well. It happens in the parking. It happens on roads. It happens in airports.
Good evening. So I'm a very strong supporter of the present government on various fronts, but I think AIIMS could have done this notification a little smarter and a little better. I don't think any person, be it a politician or from any other profession, any MP has any special privileges or any entitlement or any shortcuts or any inheritance of healthcare. Healthcare is for all. It is for the sickest first. It is for the most critical first. We must also understand that Indian healthcare is pretty much lopsided. 75% is in private and 25-30% is in the government sector. And India is running at approximately 1/5 the capacity of the doctors and hospital beds as compared to most Western countries. We need to lead by example. I think an MP or a minister or any person from any, even a rich business family, should have the capacity, if the person is not critical, to wait in the line for an appointment. I would rather have seen AIIMS coming out and saying there is a control room and a special cell for women in need, for the handicapped of the society, for children with special needs, chromosomal disorders, mental retardation, autism, and so on. I don't think we need to be elitist. Healthcare is for all. For me, personally speaking, the greatest gift which God can give to mankind is for us to become a physician. A patient who comes in does not carry any name, does not carry any professional tag, does not carry any designation. A person is come to me who's a living soul. He needs help. I will help whoever needs in the critical most first. I don't care who the person is. I will treat a person according to the merit.
Okay. Bhai Baldeep, you said, how can an MP stand in line? I do actually remember an MP standing in line. I used to be a defense minister tracking Manohar Parrikar, the late Manohar Parrikar, God bless his soul. And I've actually seen him travel economy from Delhi to Goa. He stood in line, happily smiled and posed with people. And just a regular guy who everyone I knew liked. There's a reason why you don't like people in white ambassadors, and thank God there are no white ambassadors with lal battis anymore. But when you're stuck in traffic for 20 minutes because a VIP is passing, it's highly irritating. वो कहते हैं ना अंदर से बदबू आती है.
Yeah, but then also if there's a security issue, again, it's a complex story. Look at Italy, for example, which is said to be the best healthcare system. People do have to wait for their appointments, 4 months in the government institutions, where the treatment is free. Quality treatment is free. So I think the discussion on healthcare has to be had. We need to rethink the way healthcare is being provided. We need to provide quality healthcare for free, and it should not be centralized. We should not need people to travel only to AIIMS to get as if some sort of, fast track to good healthcare. We need to have a decentralized system. As Dr. Bagai has mentioned, 1/5 is our, how we are 4/5 of the vacancies. I mean, they need to be filled up. If we do not have doctors pledging to serve,
okay.
And perks, it should be attractive for people to go to the far reaches of the nation.
I think you have articulated your point well, and you do have a point. Professor Das, you said you wanted to come in. I don't have too much time left on the debate, but go ahead. I can give you 20 seconds, and then I'll give Dr. Aviral the last word. Go ahead.
So see, if you go to AIIMS today, you will see if any VIP is coming, you will see there are several doctors, and they are going whichever the departments. That actually in much more disrupting than the streamlining. I think the way they are putting the SOP, or maybe if they can do SOP a little better, that even streamline. instead of disrupting the service all of a sudden. The number one point. Number 2 point that Dr. Aviral, what he was saying, he's asking why the MPs cannot go to the for private hospitals, etc. So, Dr. Aviral, all the MPs, they have the capacity for the private hospitals, and if they go to the private hospitals or the private service, you are the one who is going to raise the question. We have the general people are going to the government hospital, and the MPs are going to the private hospitals. I don't think this is a good point.
Oh, okay. Last word, Dr. Aviral. You had Professor Das make a good point. The fact is, if you go to a private hospital, you'll say, look, the guy has so much money, he's getting special treatment, he's getting the best treatment at a private hospital where, rooms are for 50,000 rupees a night. And if he comes to a public hospital, you say, why is he come? He's clogging the system.
No, that is not what we are saying. We are saying that, we don't have a problem with them coming to the institute. We have a problem with them, bypassing the channel, the system that is already in place. And, the general public should not be suffering at the privilege of others. That is what we are saying. We are saying that, the public should be dealt first. हमारा तो यही मानना है, हम हिंदी में कह रहे हैं कल से कि जनता पहले, जनता का प्रतिनिधि बाद में. हमारा ये मानना है. But again, I would like to draw the attention of everyone here to the last point, which is there in the SOP, point number 11, which says that all other patients who are referred to AIIMS for requisite consultation or treatment by AIIMS by honorable MPs will be provided due assistance. Now, what is that, if not VIP culture? They are saying that somebody goes to an MP, gets a letter signed by the MP, that letter holds more value than a normal OPD card. Now, where does the Constitution give the MP a power to, refer somebody? An MP, if I, from what I believe is, MP is not a qualified medical professional working in a hospital. How can he refer a patient to certain departments, certain branches, and thereby, providing him with an access to bypass all the queues?
Okay, so the fact is that AIIMS has not withdrawn its circular. They have not withdrawn the SOPs, which means they are sticking to it. They feel they have done nothing wrong. Residents, doctors feel they have done something wrong. Is this VIP culture or not? The jury is still out on that. Our panelists are divided on that. So we'll just let our viewers make up their minds. We'll leave it there for the moment, gentlemen. Thank you very much for joining us on this broadcast.